And here we go. And let's just set up a little bit of live Facebook action. And we go across here, go live. Last week it didn't do it, but here we go. It's happening now. So here we go. Got it. Participants, admit all. And here we go. Good evening, good morning, everybody. If you can hear the taps in the background, don't panic. Everything's fine. So I have this moment, of course, where I have to sit here and admit people. G'day, Rod. And till I don't have to. So, Alan, good to see you. Lots of Tom, Patrick, Jutta, Greg, Paul. Aha, right here. How are we all this evening? So I need to make sure that when I go down and click share screen, that it's there. There it is. So this is the last time I'm doing the live stream on Facebook. After this, it's going to be a subscriber Sunday sessions. So it's part of the whole WindWorks experience, and there's some very cool conversations going on there. It's only early days. There's more to come. Patrick, thank you for your chats on the main forum today. I'm up for a chat whenever you are on me, just to help you on your way. It's very, very tough situation, but it sounds like you've come across a bit of a hurdle psychologically with it, and that sort of ties into some of the things that we want to talk about today. But of course, before we go hitting the forum, seeing some familiar faces and a few black boxes that are unfamiliar. Has anyone had a thought, a question, anything from the week? We're all moving along. It's another week gone. What have we discovered this week? Have we had there's three different ways that I think about it. It can either be a progress week, a consolidation week, or a learning week. A progress week is when things start to click. The elements in the cycle of T's all start to synchronize subconsciously, and you have that moment where you go to play something. That was easy. How did that work? Didn't have to think about it. Or it feels terrible, nothing's working. Oh. And we all have those days. It's part of the learning process. I still haven't hit a golf ball after that disastrous Saturday. It's a month ago, but boy, have I been telling my brain off about it. When I come back, I will have learnt a lot from taking the time off. And so time off is an important thing as well. So if there are no burning questions, I might just get into discussing the topics on the forum. The first one was in the support group. Now, again, for those that are watching, and it's going to be on YouTube, and so you'll be watching it after the live event, but I've got a WindWorks support group, and we actually deep dive into all of the WindWorks concepts, all the exercise. I'm going to go in there over a 3-monthly period and break it down, and everyone who's signed up in this 3-month period is a group. Next 3 months is a group, and we discuss the appropriate things for how long they've been in the program. And part of it in this support group is putting videos and all different sorts of things. And there was a brain learning video that I put up last week. Now, all of you subscribers that I can see, have you all watched that video? Put your hands up, even if you haven't. It's really important stuff. I used to refer to it as the WindWorks secret. I'm just going to turn my fan on a little bit. The sun actually came out in Queensland today. I live on the Sunshine Coast in Queensland, and we haven't had much sun. We've had lots of rain, you may have seen. Alan over in the NZ, you've probably had a bit of rain over there as well. We're copping it down here. And Greg as well, down in New South. I'm guessing that you've copped a bit up there as well, mate. So sun was out today. It's great. So the WindWorks secret is the brain learning approach of teaching the invitation. Now, I'm going to start off by saying there are three, and you guys have all heard this before, but it is going to be recorded online. So if someone's watching for the first time, the three keys to learning. What does the outcome look like? What's the goal? What's the intention? What's the sound like? What does it look like? What does it feel like? That's number one. You've got to have a vivid understanding of the outcome that you want. Then most importantly, you've got to understand the system, how it works, the body, the instrument. What do I need to do? What does it feel like? What do I have to actually physically do when I grab an instrument or a tennis racket or a golf stick? And then what is am I capable of doing it? Have I got lips, lungs? Can I hold the instrument up? If we can tick all those three, what's the goal? How does it work? And am I able to complete the task? We need to be able to click three of those. But how it works and what the body needs to do is where people think they've got it. And often I had a student here today in my studio and had a fair idea that when you buzz your lips together and you blow, then you play the trumpet and you have to blow more as you get higher. And like by the time he left 2 hours later, he wasn't saying that anymore. So all of a sudden his second step of, do I understand what the body needs to do and how it relates to the instrument, what the instrument needs to do, had changed quite dramatically. And if someone had told me this stuff when I was 15, well, we wouldn't be sitting here today. So I'm kind of pleased that I didn't know this, because my process of learning, it's been invaluable for so many reasons. It's great. So the whole concept of the brain learning thing and how can we work around it, and Patrick, I'll keep you in mind when we're doing this, is that I'm going to explore in depth as the weeks go by and I get all the systems set up. The cycle of T's, I've only sort of touched on it. And of course, the first one is stillness. When we wake up in the morning and we think about practice, is there anxiety or is there a bit of excitement, or do we not think about it? It's no issue. We don't want any negative impulses in regards to the thought about practicing. And there are a lot of people that have negative thoughts about the thought of picking the instrument up, going near the practice room. So we need to get past that. How do we get past it? And understanding that our body is not broken. Number one, body's not broken. It works just fine. Muscles are actually, there is that Andrew Huberman amazing podcast, and he said muscles are dumb. And I know what he means. They don't make up their own mind. They do what they're told. So that's where I go, muscles are really obedient. Your muscles are doing what they're being instructed to do. Simple. Doesn't matter what level you are, and your understanding of the system, the more it develops, the more it will refine the messages that it sends the muscles, so the muscles respond in a more refined manner. So we can walk around in stillness and monitor ourselves and go, is there any anxiety? Are we calm, or are we anxious? If we're not anxious, if we're calm, we're chilled, we're, if anything, looking forward to our practice routine or our gig, whatever, then that's a positive. That's great. So then we get into energizing the lungs. And I would encourage all of you to be walking around, whatever you're doing during the day. I'm completely full. My lungs are full. The ribs have expanded laterally, sideways. I'm sitting back in my chair. At the top of the breath, and I talk about this, like a roller coaster going up, gets to the top, then let it just fall back down the way that it came up. Don't kick it over the top. Breath in. And at the top, we don't want this crimped. We don't want any blockage in the throat. So we can practice that all day long, everywhere. And we can even do the sip. Now, this is quite aggressive, active, but what we're doing is see how much we can stretch out. Can we get 1% more air into the lungs? And I'm not saying you have to fill up all the time 100% to play the horn. It's a drill to start and use what we've got. If we can expand our breath by a bit of a capacity, you know, why not? So you can walk around doing that. Notice how the throat wants to close at the top. It doesn't have to. So then you can energize the lungs through the nose. Now I could do a full session on how we release the abdominal wall. Let the belly fall out. Bigger guys like me often don't like the belly falling out, right? But let it fall out. What happens? The diaphragm drops. And the diaphragm drops, you're opening up a vacuum. You expand the lung sac. So the first part of the breath, watch my hand here, even just sitting down, sort of rising because the abdominals, the diaphragm's dropping. And then we breathe back in and up. That's a topic on its own. But we can practice that walking around, right? And we can do that through the nose. At the top of the breath, the throat's open. How do we know? Body's concert hall breath. Back of the tongue out of the way, opening up this tube. Some of you guys might see Alan, I'm not sure who can see who on the screen, but he'd watched a bunch of stuff and then came along and signed up. And one of the few people in his first lesson, a beginner to the trumpet, very first few months, but one of the first few people that I've actually seen turn up to their first lesson and go, keep the head still, and expansion in the body without doing this. Where's yes, Paul, I'm looking at you. I remember the first session, there's all this elevation, and you're not alone. Everyone's doing it because we do it. Take a big breath. Right? We do it instinctively, innately. We don't have to. So once we learn that sensation of expand and then drop, and again, here's the breathing system. Well, you think wide. Now, the longer we hang on to this here, the less power we've got in the arrow. And I know you guys that have seen this every week, I was going to say I'm sorry, but I'm not. We've got to keep reinforcing it. Zen in the art of archery, release at the highest tension. Where is that? Well, it's the highest tension. And then they want this sort of like subconscious, non-aware release at the highest tension, which for us is, right? But we can all agree that the longer I hang on to this arrow, the less energy there is. If I was to throw this down the hallway, it'd get halfway. If I pull back and release, it's going to go all the way. So we use that power to play. So we can walk around doing this. Make sure the body's concert hall's open. Oh, I know I can't hear you guys, but that's okay. Just do that for me. Oh. All right, and I need to find the picture I took a couple of weeks ago of us all holding our instruments for the Singing Sea logo. I'd forgotten about it, but it's on here somewhere. That's what I want to feel like when I'm playing. Open, free. Then we've got the expansion and drop. There's our low C. There's our foundation, right? We can work on all these things walking around town, sitting at the office, sitting in the car, anywhere. Don't shut your eyes if you're driving, of course. Drop and then hum. I want the lips to interact with the air as if they're the vocal cords. And It's all part of developing our understanding of the system, because all we're doing is removing the vibration from here and putting it to the lips. Without the head, the vocal cords wouldn't be vibrating the way that they are now. I'll be certain of that, right? So then we walk around, and besides the fact that, as I've spoken about, vagus nerve, anxiety, serotonin, all that sort of stuff, it's a good thing for performance anxiety. It's a great way to remind yourself of efficiency. So that's cool. Then, and for those that don't know, I'm talking about a video about brain training that was posted on the support group forum. If you haven't seen that, jump in the top folder. There's the most important parts of our playing right there. Developing the energy, the combustion, the energy in the body, the expansion and the drop. Let go. Use that energy to convert that to sound. So hard we pick up the horn and want to get active and throw the arrow. No, we overdo that, right? Let's learn to not do that and develop our foundation, and then only engage as much as we need to as we ascend. Then we've got Greg Quigley, Dan, who's a student and he teaches at the university here in Queensland, had the visualizer in his pocket. He'd be at a barbecue, having a beer, cooking a sausage with his mates. They're like, what on earth are you doing? I'm just doing some trumpet practice. It's an invitation. It's a drill. There's a term there. It's because it's a physical, it's a real exercise. It's a tangible invitation. It's realistic. You keep telling yourself, just do that. When you pick up the horn and you go to pinch the lips and push, remember, this thing wants to help us, right? It wants to do the easiest, best way. That's its job, but it doesn't want to waste time and effort. So it wants to believe what you're doing, but you're consciously, the conscious brain's the powerful programmer. We're going to do this. It goes, oh, okay, well, I understand that logically. I understand that it can work, so I'm prepared to do that. There's a benefit to that. And Dan said in this video, his mates thought he was nuts until he realised that it worked. He thought I was nuts. What was the term he used? Crackpot. Until it transferred into his playing. Invitation accepted, right? Really important. Now, Patrick, I understand that going through these processes, the mere thought of playing might create some carnage. And we have to work on that with the eyes closed. And this goes to step one of the key. What does the outcome look like? What does it sound like? What do I look like when I'm playing, having no negative reactions or anything, right? Then how does the system work? Energize the lungs, relax, drop, move that passive energy, convert that to sound, right? Now I understand that bringing this up here, mate, it can be a real problem, just the visualizer, even fingers, even one finger. I call it the force field. If anything gets beyond that force field, that layer of confidence, you might be able to keep your hand here. No problem, everything's good. Hand here, no problem, everything's good. Hand here, the shadow appears. Uh-oh. Are you about to try and start playing your instrument? I'm watching you, right? It's protecting you. And that's where the power of the conscious mind comes into it and reassures it. I love playing. I love the feeling of playing. I love the sound of the trumpet. I can't wait to do this. Now, I know that you've been protecting me. I know that. And I also know that the muscles are following instructions. They're very obedient. So thank you. As Mark Bain, I'm editing this third part of the performance anxiety chat that we had, and his analogy was, you've got the the surf lifesaver. There's a 10-year-old kid fighting against a rip in the ocean, right? And the surf lifesaver goes out and saves the kid. Great. But that kid becomes 35 and super strong and is out there swimming, no problem. That lifesaver doesn't need to go out and save you, but it still wants to because it thinks you're in trouble. Doesn't need to do that. So we need to say, thank you, but we're okay now, right? And then it's a process of just looking around and going, right, what can I do? Can I sit in stillness with the belief that I'm able to train myself to play again? Of course I can. Of course I can. And that reminds me, this is a trick of, and I actually told someone this at a business thing that I happened to end up at by accident about a month ago. This guy driving to work, having anxiety about making phone calls to clients, feeling nervous on the way there. I said, imagine if you're driving there and you said out loud, and this is deep when you do it in real time and out loud, can you get into your office and pick up your phone and ring your first client? Of course I can. You say it out loud straight away before you have a chance for the subconscious programming to step in and go, no way, right? Can you pick up the phone? Of course I can. So with Julie Baxter, who you know that I've been working with, I now get her, hey, Jules, can you do whatever? Put this mask over your mouth without having a reaction. Of course I can. Even though the likelihood of having a reaction is really, really high, it's not about that. It's about consciously saying out loud, of course I can do this. And that sends a message because the conscious mind programs the subconscious mind with repetition. Of course I can. Of course I can. You know? So once we do, can I pick up the visualizer and put it on my lips without having any kind of reaction? Of course I can. Then you put it on and there's a reaction. You go, oh, no, that's an error. Great. We love errors because that's the best way to send the message to this lifesaver brain. Go, no, that's not what we need. No, you don't need to do that anymore. And then you go through the drills to get there and go, well, you go through the process again, and then you do the whole thing again, and it does the same error, and you go, no, that's not what we want. We don't want that. What does it look like? What is the goal? This applies to everyone. What's the goal? What does it look like? Am I capable of doing it? Yes. Do I know the goal? Yes. Do I know the way the system works? Yes. Right. So, am I capable of putting the visualizer on my mouth without having a reaction? Of course I can. And eventually it'll stop. And when it stops, you go, that's what I want. Just do that. That's the learning process by creating errors. And we can all work on that from walking around in the street, literally. The visualization of what the outcome looks like is everything. So if you can picture yourself sitting there, energize the lungs, hands coming up, breath, milk spout, aperture corners, release the energy, conversion of energy to sound, no action. Everyone can do that. Everyone can do it, right? So the whole process of this brain training, this is more and more and more, it blows my mind because you got to think that every muscle does something based on a message and an instruction from the brain. So we've got to work on the brain. We've got to train the brain. It's got to know what it looks like. It's got to know what it feels like. It's got to know what to do. But if we don't sort of go down that analytical path and figure out what's going on, then it's just pick it up, relying on favourable conditions, another term in Zen in the Art of Archery. You don't want to be relying on favourable conditions. Oh, it was good today. Oh, it was bad today. It was good today. It was bad today without thinking any further about it. Why was it good today? Why did it feel good? Why was it bad? Why was it a bad day? What wasn't working? What does that come back to? What can I do? What can I sometimes do? What can't I do? On a bad day, could you sit there and not play a low C passively? Right? Well, if that's the case, well, then we've got to go back further, because that what you can do is just turn into what I can sometimes do. I can only sometimes play a low C passively. So if you can only sometimes play a low C passively with sympathetic oscillation, resonance, if you can only do that sometimes, how on earth can we expect to play our best ability all the way over the horn every day? It's not possible. It's not possible. There's a little message here. Let me just check this out quickly. It is the same you do with mindfulness. It also a learning process and keeping stuck at it. Absolutely. It's all mindfulness. Hi, Greg. If you have time, just wondering about top and bottom lip position. Is the top lip forward or back over the bottom lip? Forward or back over the bottom lip? Or are they in alignment? Ideally, but I'll get into it. Struggling a bit to get my buzz the same each time. I'll talk about the buzz. Good, sometimes then can't seem to replicate it. Alan, I will talk to you in private about that, my friend. Okay? Because alignment is what we're after. And milk spout aperture corners, that's if we're working on getting a loose lip buzz, which generally I don't want people doing unless we need to stimulate that vibration, because the propensity is to pinch down too much. So let's talk, my friend.
Greg, can I interrupt for a moment?
Yes.
Shape, can you train shape away from the instrument as well?
100%. I'm going to add to the Singing C series, doing every exercise on the visualizer first, or on your fingers first, or even none of them first, right? Because people think they're passive when they're going through, well, firstly, step one, going up the notes, and then step two, obviously we become active as we go through. But once you sit there and go, so I know where my low C is. I know the shape of the low C. It's here. There's my low C, right? So let's say I'm doing the first valve harmonic singing C step one. What are the two elements of pitch change? Aperture corners, without pinching the lips down, tongue position. So I sit here and go, and this kind of aligns with, pardon the pun, with what Alan was just asking about the alignment of the chops. I do want to keep them aligned, but not everyone can, of course, based on anatomy. But inwards, smaller aperture, it's going to get softer. It's going to get softer. Whether it's inwards or activation, I'm not in there, I don't know. But you can definitely work on it away from the horn. Then, here's the passive low C. That's a D, fourth line D. With the visualizer. It's funny, when you do it on the visualizer, the body's not going to engage, right? It just doesn't. It's not until we pick up this bloody thing and all of a sudden we flip into player mode. Let's get active now. It's time to play, and the process goes out the window. So I'm changing 2 octaves there, and I was just about out of breath by the end of it. There was no abdominal engagement. Zero, zilch, none. Passive reduction. So the big thing that we're working on is to try and move the mouth without the body kicking. And that's really tricky, because when your brain is already wired, I'm going to play a note and I'm going to change pitch, there is this association. push the valve down, the body activates. And then when I finally get people to be passive, what happens is the pitch drops away on notes, even on the low C. Once they become passive, instead of getting the low C, I get them to let go in the body, start using passive reduction compression. Because the body's not active, the brain goes, oh, body's not active, mouth can't be active. Alan's getting it. So how on earth can you keep the mouth active without having an active body? Practice. What does the result look like, sound like, feel like? How does the system work? Am I capable of doing it? Yes. Right? So you can definitely work on that away from the horn. The best thing you guys can be doing walking around is energize the lungs, expansion, drop, hum, resonance, corners in, turn the voice off. There's an efficient playing system, and we can all do it. Everyone can do that. And then when you find that refined position of the aperture corners, X marks the spot, the corners of the aperture, V for victory. I'll come up with 1,000 names for it by the time I leave this planet. Right. And then how do we convert that to sound? Well, we put the rim on, let go in the middle and trust the process. Understand the process and trust it, right? Then eventually, and it happened today, I saw this kid who's just gone, the sound opened up. Easier, better sound than ever. Good kid, good quality junior, good quality junior. And you could hear it open up, and he had this look of, that's ridiculous. Wow. Yeah, let's just play like that all over the horn instead of burning the pizza, you know. So that's the brain training, is the understanding, what does the goal look like? Think of your limitation individually. Think of where your limits are. Is it multiple tonguing, or is it harmonic slurs? In fact, I think, well, this ties in beautifully to, let me share the screen for a minute. Here we go. Yep, that one there. I hear this all the time. Hesitating articulations. I'm submitting this as a possible Sunday sessions. Here we are. Have struggled with hesitating articulations for the past 30 years. And I think it has limited my progress in the course. Absolutely, you cannot have any hesitation whatsoever. It does not happen all the time. What can I do? What can I sometimes do? What can't I do? But I think it puts an added extra tension in the system that can compromise the sound quality, 100%. I'm getting better at non-judgmental awareness, good, and sensing when the hesitation is about to happen. Interesting. I'd like to talk further about this. I stop and do the body's concert hall breath and begin again. I know that the trigger for me is making the pitch component correct. We were just talking about that. In my hand blowing just air into the horn when you add pitch, problems start. Correct. See you on Sunday. John, right. Stop share. Really important stuff. I can do it away from the horn, but I can't do it when I pick the horn up, when there's a pitch element. So we've got the 4 factories. I wonder if I got my piece up. Here we are. So we've got the sound factory. It's the so we've got all of our drills down. We've developed our foundation. I was intentionally humming at the major 7, just for any of you that thought that I might have been out by a semitone. It's completely intentional. There's the sound component. So there's a factory over there creating sound. Then we had the valves. Now Now, for anyone who's been playing for 12 months or more, they'll have that chromatic pattern down. You don't have to think about it. It is so wide in the subconscious. Takes no RAM, no circles turning, no wheels turning. It's just there. So, Alan, here's one to get down. The seven positions of chromatic. You'll see it in the descending harmonic exercises in the Largo, in the part of the Largo stage, or maybe the Adagio. But anyway, it's there. Learn that. So we've got valves and we've got sound. Now, when we push the valves down, does it affect the sound? Does it draw energy from the sound? Because they're all on their own power grid. They don't need to rely on each other, or do they? We don't want them to. Sound and valves shouldn't affect each other. Let's now go sound and harmonic slurs just on their own. So we've got and we can practice harmonic slurs away from the horn, aperture corners, tongue position. Now in the low register here, we're jumping a fifth here. There's probably more movement than as we go up, right? So don't panic if you feel like the jaw's lowering a little bit on that low C. If I was to pick up my trombone or grab a tuba and play a pedal B flat, my jaw's going to be down further than that, so it will move a bit. But I sit there and go, rightio. So sound is working, harmonic slurs is working, sound is working, valves are working, so they're fine. What happens if we put all three of them together? Logic says if I go and go, if I put them together, I should get. That was pretty close. It was synchronized-ish. Missed a few notes. But I'm not trying to play all of those notes. I'm not trying to play any of them. I'm just trying to go da 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 da, and then we speed it up, right? Then what happens? We've got tongue. So the sound and the tongue equation. Now, I know I've jumped ahead from the articulation issue that John mentioned. I'll come back. But let's say we've got the sound and we've got the tongue. We've got three of them. We're the valves. Do they affect each other? They don't have to, but that's what we're on the lookout for. So what John was saying was, and let's say I can do this. I can do this. I can go energize the lungs, drop the body, set the corners, milk spout. There's the energy. I can do that. He said he could do poo lip coo KMT in 2. I think was that the same message? I think so. Or the coo attack's a good one because everyone overblows, burns the pizza, kicks the air too much, chokes off, can't articulate. Versus poo, right? So I can do that. You can even. So there's something going wrong between there. Now, what I will suggest to him, he'll be in the US, I think, so he'll be on tomorrow morning, so I can go through this again. Right here. Can you practice it away from the instrument? Most definitely. So what have I got there? Double tonguing, sound, harmonic slur all together. You can practice it away from the horn and do one of the elements, steal power from the other factory, draw the power away from it. They're independent. They shouldn't affect each other, but they do. So what I'll be telling John to do tomorrow is make sure, eyes closed, introverted learning. Greg, why do we close our eyes? Well, what are we training? Training the brain. It's in here. Let's look at the brain. Stop wasting RAM, wasting energy. Looking out here. Close the eyes. What does it feel like, look like, sound like? I can do it with my hand, do it with my tissue, but all of a sudden when there's pitch involved, everything comes unstuck. Does it have to? What can I do? What can I sometimes do? What can't I do? I tend to repeat myself. Or is it one of the infamous no notes? I cannot wait to put the no notes video out. It's one of the coolest things we've come up with. It's really hip. And Patrick especially. Not especially, I take that back. It's especially useful, but everyone needs to do it. What's the feeling of it? What's the correct process? Don't try and play the note. Can I play a no note without any, problem with the process? Replicate. I can see Ken there. How are you, Ken? Remember this, my friend. Let's do 1,000 repeats. Tissue. Lead pipe. Make them feel the same. And I think about 697, you sent me a message going, Greg, I got it. Right. You turned up to your lesson the following week and your sound had gone like this. Oh, it brings me so much joy, right? Do that. There's no note. Congratulations, you're nailing the no notes. If you were going and you're elevating and everything was tight, or jaws moving, or that's not perfect process. But if it's expansion and drop, I would love to do a scientific experiment. I'd love to get a control group of 50 people and get them for 10 minutes a day, or 10 minutes 3 times a day. Say they've got to just sit there based on real simple drill of milk spout, B for victory, mouthpiece on, then lead pipe. My hypothesis is by the end of the week, if they did 10 minutes 3 times a day, every single one of them would get an oscillation at the chops. All of them. Just by going and complete mindlessness about it. No idea what they're doing, no idea what they're working on. I guarantee would happen. A note, there's no way you could do it for a week and have no oscillation happen at the vibration of the chops. There's no way, is my belief. So then we walk around and do that, and all of a sudden, now this will tie into the way that WindWorks works and the books worked. The process of development. Can I play this note? Can I do it every day? What can I do? What can I sometimes do? What can't I do? Yep, I can do that every day. Can we go up a note? Can we go up 2 notes? Where does it finish? Where does it end? Where does it stop? What can I only sometimes do? Well, when I get to the middle C, sometimes it doesn't work. Oh, great. Cool. That's where we need to work. Let me give you the tip. You cannot play that passively. I'll try. Just, but you need more power behind it to defy the harmonics of the lead pipe. Greg, you said that the movement at the corners is less in the higher register. No, I didn't say that. I'll be back. I feel in the higher register more movement of the tongue. Yeah, when I play harmonic slurs, sure. Can you demonstrate harmonic slurs in the higher register? Thanks. No, what I said was the jaw moving less, not the corners. The corners are a consistent move as we go around the joint. So now let me say, I've seen dudes that can do this 30 times faster than I can. They get right in there, all the Baroque players, super duper duper fast, and they can focus on the tongue movement. Now some of them actually use the tongue touching the lip, because that's changing the tension. I can't do that. I've never worked on it, you know. But I know that's a way of doing harmonic slurs. But doing what I'm talking about here, there's incremental amount of movement, which is tiny, from harmonic to harmonic to harmonic to harmonic. What we're working on doing is keeping this down, teeth apart, aperture corners in. I'm constantly saying to anyone who I've given lessons here to will know, chin down, corners in, chin down, corners in, chin down, corners in. Because the teeth want to come up, get together, the whole oral cavity loses its thing, and when the teeth come up, we lose our corners. Got to keep it down, and those corners have to come in to create the pitch, not pinching down and pushing. You can practice this away from the horn. So then if we've got tonguing, felt like the lead pipe, all of a sudden the pitch becomes involved. All right, I might just, I owe everyone a bourbon. Sorry, left my phone on. All of a sudden, I go to play the G and it's not speaking. I start to choke off or something happens. Generally what's happening is the body gets involved. Down here, pushes the air, pushes the pressure, increases the pressure, too much combustion, burn the pizza, and the chops tighten up. So then there's back pressure. We're not converting energy to sound. Therefore, it's backing up and we choke off. That's not conducive to free tonguing. So it goes back to the four factories, just working on them independently and find, what can I do? I never have this problem on a low C. I never have it on a low D. I never have it on a low E. I sometimes have it on an F. There you go. Let's figure out what happens on the F. And all of a sudden, I think when you figure out what happens on the F, you'll figure it out on the G, on the A and the B, and unlock a lot of things. So that's the whole process, is just looking for what the error is. What's the problem? And then if you know what the outcome looks like and you know how the system works, woo, laughing. There we go. Right? Any questions on that? Any thoughts? Got it sorted? Rightio. Let's have a look at the music and science. Wow, this is really, I only read this today, Patrick. It's full on. So basically it's about, you know, everything that we're talking about tonight. It's about the science of it, and it's about the psychology behind it. Now, a lot of people don't think about this stuff. When we're growing up, we don't have to. Here's a trumpet, here's some notes, go learn them, play the notes. Great, if it works, terrific. It's no accident that the average age of people that I work with is about 45 years, 6 months and 17 days. Yeah, something like that. Who knows? Why is that? Because we're invincible and we know it all when we're teenagers and going through college, even though secretly we know there might be a problem. Like this young bloke today goes, I want to make sure I'm on the right path. I'm going to do a lot of work. He's destined to be a big gun, this guy. I just want to make sure there's a seed of something, there's something not quite right. He didn't say that, but that's the essence. Asking the question, am I on the right path? And to a degree, yes, to a degree, no. And it's when we discover, oh, all of a sudden I can't do this, or I can't do this, or I can't do this. You got to ask questions why. And you can only be given so many method books and say, I'll go and practice this method. You know, try the Caruso. I love the Caruso stuff. But you got to understand what the Caruso method was about and do it. No one taps their foot. If you do the Caruso method, you don't tap your foot, you're missing the point completely, number one. And then it's exertion. It's not about exertion. It's about counting in your mind, distracting the mind to let the drills take care of themselves, and then you recognize what's happening. But what happens is the ego and the ear goes, I can play that note, and manipulate the process. So you end up just doing an exercise, which is ink on a page, the same way as you're doing an Arbin exercise or a Schlossberg exercise or Claude Gordon exercise or this or that or that. You're just playing ink on a page. You're not changing anything. You're not learning anything. We've got to stick to processes and understand the process. That's why the importance of understanding the system. What does it feel like to play efficiently? How do you play efficiently? You know, what don't I want? Well, I don't want to work hard. I don't want to be choking off here anymore. I don't want to get headaches and migraines or hernias or perforated larynxes anymore. You know, so we've got to understand the system, and then we've got to understand the learning system. What is the learning system? It's making errors and going, that's not what I wanted. I know what the result looks like. That wasn't it. Right? I know what I'm supposed to do, and that wasn't it. So then what happens is you go with the process of it and then look at the result afterwards. Don't let the conscious mind try and control the process. Don't let the conscious mind take over and try and control the process, because all of a sudden you're going down the 1.0 pathway because of this thing. Versus, what were the drills? What were the cycle of T's? What did it feel like? What was I working on? Energize the lungs. Milk spout, V for victory, drop, release. What did that feel like? Then add the horn, and all of a sudden we elevate and go into player mode. Don't do that, right? So then when you, like I demonstrated before, I saw a couple of really nice nods, people going, yeah, I totally get that. Let's go, you know, play me a low C. Hi, my name's Greg. Welcome to the studio. I'm looking forward to having a lesson with you today. Play me a low C. Right? Okay, go again. That. Rightio. So then we work 45 minutes later, as some of you will, yeah, right, definitely know. Then what happens? You let go of the body. The mouth can't activate because the body's not activated. They're associated together. They don't need to be. Rightio? So what we do, instead of activating the body to play the low C, which is what most people want to do, you go, well, hang on a minute. I need to change the mouth. Question is, can I do it away from the horn? Question is, why would you try and fix it with the horn? Don't try and fix it with the horn, because you're just going to keep stimulates old habits. Arnold Jacobs, the instrument stimulates old habits. The horn's not going to fix this up here. It's going to engage the 1.0, your old current pathway. You've got to create the new pathway by understanding it. Right? I can change my mouth without blowing harder. Of course I can. Greg, can you change your mouth without engaging the body? Of course I can. Even though on the inside I'm going, I know it's possible. I don't know how to do that, but I know I can. That wasn't it. Error. That wasn't it. Wasn't it. Wrong shape. Error. 10 minutes later, epinephrine, acetylcholine, frustration, brewing. What is that? They're brain chemicals. Brain's going, there's something wrong. Not getting the result that I want. Anxiety's building up. That's awesome. People hate this. I love it. This is the learning cocktail. No! Ugh. I did it yesterday. Well, yesterday, did you store it and send it forward to tomorrow? When we actually have a result, when we approximate or achieve the right outcome, that's coffee moment time. That's when you put the horn down and go and have a coffee and think about it. I know this innately, instinctively, just to don't try and repeat it again, because I know myself. I'm going to stuff it up if I try and do it again. What did it feel like? There it is. There it is. I wanted to walk off the golf course halfway through a round because I've played a couple of the best shots. I don't want to stuff them up by hitting the rest of the round. I just want to go home now. That was good. Righto, let's go and store that. Right? You can't really do that. Right? So that's what we do. As all of a sudden you go, oh, I cracked it. I was higher than the note. Dopamine release sends a signal to the brain. We're getting closer. We're getting closer. So what did I do that time? Oh, that wasn't it. Oh. 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 What was that? It was higher. What did I do? Close your eyes. What did it feel like? Right? I can do it. I know how the system works. I know what I wanted. The result was there. I found it. Put the horn down. Go and get your favourite beverage. Sit there. Think about it. Store it. Then, most important, do not go back on the horn and try and repeat that note straight away. Don't do that. You go, Greg, of course you want to go back and play the note again. You want to repeat it, see if you can remember it or not. Don't do that. Go back and go, right, what was the process that got me to that note? How did I get there? Let's relive the errors. Let's relive the errors. Relive the errors. Let's make the errors again. That doesn't seem smart. It's really smart because you've got your point of difference. We're developing all of this stuff that I'm ranting on about is developing a point of difference. This is the drill that you're telling me. This is what's happening on the horn. Process driven. I understand. Here's the result. Result driven. Let's get the result and just who cares about the process in getting there. But for learning process, let's go back and repeat the process. And the process was energize the lungs, jaw down, corners in, milk spout, aperture corners, release. Now don't forget, I've got to change the mouth without changing the body. Got it. Oh, I've relaxed the body and I can't move my mouth without engaging the body. Yes, I can. Of course I can. We go through the same freaking process again. It's not it. Chemicals. Gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. Was it the outcome that I wanted? No. Was it on the right direction? Is the heading in the right direction? Did it approximate the right outcome? Yep. Let's do that again. That wasn't it. Oh, there it is. Oh. I can change my mouth without engaging the body. Cool. Put your horn down. And then it'll get to a point where you won't have to go through that process. You'll go, I've got this. I own this. And I need a word for this. It's kind of like a vibe. It's like, I know I've got this. It's a sense. I don't need to do anything. I can do this. I've got this. It's wired. I know I can just pick it up, not engage the body. All the messages were being sent to the right bits. No messages were being sent to the wrong bits. There's the process of creating a new habit. You think you've got it, you go to bed, and even though apparently, as far as neurology goes, that the pathways actually start to find each other during sleep. However, that doesn't mean you're going to find it again the next day. And you might have seen that 1+1 video. Conscious mind, subconscious mind. Right, subconscious mind, yep. What's 1+1? 3. No, it's 2. Oh, that's right, it's 2. Hey, subconscious mind, yep. What's 1+1? 3. No, it's 2. Oh, yeah, that's right, I got it, 2. Hey, subconscious mind, yep. What's 1+1? 2. Great. Half an hour later, what's 1+1? 3. No, it's 2. Oh, yeah. What's 1+1? 3. This goes on and on and on. Then it's 1+1, 2. Great. What's 1+1? 2. Great. 1+1, 2. Great. Got it. You go to bed, you wake up the next day, you come in and go, hey, brain, what's 1+1? It goes 3. Ah! That's the learning process. You've got to keep making the errors until they stop. Right? Then it's 7 times 15. That's 900 divided by 66. Right? This is the process. What can I do? What can I sometimes do? What can't I do? Every single place where the mind goes is doubt. Any part of your playing, you monitor when you're playing. You're practicing. You're doing a routine. You're working on something. Where does the conscious mind go? Does it think technically at all, or is it completely right brain? It's all just, I know the sound I want to make and I'm going to make it. Because all this stuff's left brain, analytical, technical. We've got to do both, right? So we're training using the left brain to go, right, what does it look like, sound like, feel like? What do I need to do? Process driven. Then you get to the point where enough's enough, I can't do it anymore. If I hear Greg Spence's voice, I'm going to stab myself in the face. I can't have any more. Great. Circle and square. Put a line through it. Go and play a beautiful tune. Right? Hear it. What does it sound like? Purely results driven. Don't think about the technique. You've done the work. You've done it. You've sent the invitations out. You cannot force people to turn up to a party. All you can do is send the invitations out, then send them out again, send them out again, send them out again, send them out again, send them out again. Eventually, one day, one of it will turn up. Oh, this is good. Might stay for a day, might stay for an hour, might stay forever. Right? So wherever there's doubt is an uncertainty of one of the elements in the cycle of T's. I don't know whether that's going to work or not. So I'm going to send attention there. On my golf swing, I've got to think about the alignment. So I don't know the alignment without thinking about it and checking it. You watch all the pro golfers, a lot of them get there and just do that, just check in before the swing. Right? There it is. And then they'll execute. What do you do when you reach a wall? I'm stuck to high E flat, can't go high. I followed your directions. I can play up to high D quite comfortably, and my overall playing is improved, but I feel like I can't move up. I feel like I've hit a wall. Thank you, Massimo. Thank you for the question. Firstly, when you say you can go to a D or an E flat, can you play it all day, every day? Do you own the notes? Can you play it at all volumes? Can you do a singing C exercises? Now, just a quick put in here. I'm going public with this today, but as of next week, it's just in the support group, just for subscribers. The link will be in the support group. Can we get up to the Can we find that D passively? Concert hall, no body engagement. Let me sit there and go, play that D. Then when we start to add volume, the body starts to engage. Does the throat close off and we start and choke, or do we, that's owning a D, playing harmonic slurs up there. So I would suspect that the issue isn't at the D or the E flat. The D or the E flat's the breaking point. And let's just be conservative here and go, the issue starts an octave lower. I've given lessons to pro players who cannot get to fourth space passively. Couldn't do it. So rolled in. And because we're passive, we've taken away the body's association with the pitch. And so the mouth can't operate. It needs that combustion to get the lips to oscillate. No, we're going to let go. So with those guys, I'm working on getting just going to an E flat without engaging the body. That's a big rewire. Then all of a sudden you get there. You go to the next harmonic. Right, no, we can't do that. And as we slowly start to get louder, we overcook burn the pizza, too much energy, doesn't get converted to sound, backs up in the chest and in the throat. No. So let's open up. Here's an A flat, here's a soft A flat, here's a loud A flat. Here's an E flat, here's a low C, here's a low A flat, soft, loud. Here's a high A flat, soft, loud. Activation at the aperture corners I'm talking about. The size of the aperture is the amount of air displacement, volume. The pitch itself comes from the corners. We've got to learn to do that with the throat. Right? Keeping everything relaxed and open. There's a lot of things at play. And I get told I'm too analytical. Well, you want to find the source of the problems. You got to start and look and go, right, where are the problems? I have a wired whistle. Every time I pick this up and go, I can't not whistle. Right? If I wanted to stop whistling, I'd have to practice. Right, what does it look like? Error. No. Oh yeah, I can do that. That's not it. We've got to find out where the problem starts. Right. It's a really deep process that we can do, and it's just repetition of an understanding. There's a term for you. Repetition of an understanding. Because going from a high E flat to a high E, if that's the breaking point because the wall has been hit down lower, we need to increase what's happening down low. It's like a pyramid. So we start and get control higher up, and the higher up you can develop your range. But it's the issues happen an octave below. Let's say an octave below. I could talk about that sort of range development for hours and hours and hours, but that'll get away from the thing. And that being said, I've gone over time already. Gee, I can ramble. Sorry about that. Because I don't want them to get any longer, because people will switch off, and hours are heaps. They probably won't even go for an hour in the support group, because it's going to be based there. It's going to be really based on individual techniques, individuals' problems, talking about stuff. So come armed with questions, issues, keep posting. And I haven't set up the 4 charities yet. Now, there might have been people having issue with the support group. If you haven't connected with the support group, it's now working as of today. Matt, our wonderful IT guru, who's a very, very busy man, has finally been able to get on and fix it. So you can get across from the dashboard, my support group. It'll click across. I don't think you even need to verify your email. that is technical stuff that we work on individuals' issues. The main forum is for general conversation. It's public. And once we're getting all this set up, the 4 charities are coming. I'm still working on it. And as part of a course, there are expectations. So you need to, ultimately, when we get there, everyone has to post on the main forum at least once a month. And if I see someone who hasn't, they're going to get the big flag and the finger pointing at them. $20 into one of the 4 charities, right? Got to get accountable. Got to get this thing happening. What are we working on? You might get a drill. Hi, Greg, I've been working on this. I thought I might try such and such. All right, great. Now I'd like to see a film of you doing that. I'm working on my harmonic slurs. I've got them at 105, but I can't get to 108. Yeah, film them for me. Okay, I will. Great. I expect to see it. If I don't see it, red flag and the finger, $20 in the charity, right? We're going to set ourselves goals. I'm going to achieve them, right? Any quick questions before I go bidding farewell and thanking you all very, 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 very much for being part of the whole thing. I'm loving seeing where it's going and it's developing. It's really exciting. My pleasure. iPhone 4. Yes.
Greg, I've got one question before we go. I said it already in the chat. To get the right shape, I move my aperture forward to find the right sound. I'll do it with the passive energy, passive release. So is that the right way to do?
I don't like the word forward necessarily, although because you're quite downstream. So getting the tissue out, and for those that are just watching and going, well, there's nothing wrong with downstream or whatever. No worries, Patrick, buddy. Take care. Let's talk. Hey, please. I'm offering you a session to get the ball rolling for you. Okay, so please reach out. Okay, getting the air straight out will have that feeling for you of the milk spout forward a little bit. I don't want too much jaw.
No. I try to get some alignment, and then that it still feels comfortable.
Great.
I don't push it any further.
Great. So there's that. Then it's inwards, corners in, whilst keeping chin down, corners in, milk spout. So I want it to feel like the U shape in the bottom lip, not forward. So the bottom lip's doing that all the way up. The top lip's like this curtain hanging here. It's just hanging, and we shoot some air pressure at it, and it vibrates. Okay, but I don't want you to feel like you're pushing right forward. We don't want any jaw issues or anything like that. But the feeling for you will be forward because you're used to going back and under. So right. So if your psychology is forward, if that's the sensation you've got, go for it. Absolutely. Right. But just start small intervals. Go up chromatically. Minor second, minor third. Right? I added a few extra quasi-chromatical notes in there. But you're on the right path. Absolutely.
All right.
Steve, you look like you're on you're a greyhound about to jump out of the box and ask a question.
Completely right. I had a 10-minute session with you a while back, and didn't seem to have any problems getting a resonant low C.
Yep.
My one concern is I'm doing the milk spout, but no matter what I'm doing here, the feeling when I'm doing the harmonic slurs, which are coming on nicely, and I'm being very honest with myself, but the feeling is that the bottom lip, even though it's turned forward, seems to be behind the upper lip, so it's sort of like.
It's really, really, really hard to see. Yeah, that's looking completely fine. Now, like if I...
It just feels at the back, if you know what I mean. It feels as if when I'm going up, when I'm slurring up, which I'm doing successfully, it feels like the milk spout's starting to retreat behind the upper lip, even though my bottom lip's facing forward.
So what I would say is, how does it sound? And freedom-wise,
yeah, I seem to be doing okay with it.
right?
I can. I'm a returning player. I don't have another embouchure to play with. I think I told you this before. So sorry, I'll put the grey arm back in the box. I'll sit back a bit. So when I started with the WindWorks,
Yeah.
I found that having adopted the WindWorks embouchure, really I hadn't got another one to go to because the range wasn't that much different. And I play a hell of a lot of flugelhorn. That's what I say because I like playing flugelhorn.
Yeah.
I played my session with you on a flugelhorn,
Yep.
and it's got a beautiful rich tone. But I can now lip slur up to a G above the staff quietly,
Right.
and I'm pretty sure I'm not pinching too bad on that. But it all does feel. My sensation is that I've got quite a big upper lip, and my bottom lip, even though I'm trying to spout forward, I'm not rolling in. But the whole structure seems to be going behind my upper lip whilst I'm doing it. It's a weird sensation, really.
We love weird sensations because it means you're probably doing something different.
It's just a concern, that was all.
Oh, so the concern's based on it doesn't feel like it used to feel like. But from what I'm ascertaining from what you're saying is that it's working. It feels different, but it sounds good. And I can play the same range. If things have opened up.
I do get a few artifacts in me sound. I know I'm not supposed to worry about the process-driven results, but I do tend to find me lip slurs on the quietly being a bit spitty and a bit wet, a bit noisy. It takes a while to clear that up when I'm trying to do the qualitative, the actual results-driven exercise.
Sure.
So I seem to be fighting a few artifacts at the moment. That's all.
Sure. And so Greg Brain goes, okay, so where? On all harmonic slurs, or when you get to a particular range, or
it seems to be the lower ones.
Right.
They when I say C sharp to F, and my if I'm playing low E and low F in the staff, those two notes seem to be the most problematic. And then it clears up when I'm playing a C in the staff, if you like.
There's an interesting little transition point around the E flat E F there, getting in from the low register to the middle register, and that's why the half chromatics in the fundamental exercises are really important to work over through that range and tonguing, getting your tonguing happening on each of those notes. And again, so just say E flat, work on the, really get them banging short and responsive. So then when you're doing your chromatics, you're working over that gap. And then at the end of the day, if you can tongue the notes and they sound good and they're free and they're clean, then all we're doing is shape to shape. So it's just a familiarity issue, right? Because you can go. It's just doing that sort of break it down. Can I find the notes? Can I find the shape? Is the process right? Then go from shape to shape to shape. And that sounds like it's that transition between the two notes which is causing a little concern. So
I wasn't so worried about the process-driven things, but I just didn't want it creeping into my regular playing. I didn't want it to be putting up with. So I was having to do quite a bit of manoeuvring to get rid of the spitty sound. That was all. I was thinking, wow, what's happening here? Because it wasn't there before. It seems to have crept in, and no doubt it'll creep away.
Yeah, well, you're going to have transition area issues because it's reconfiguring. The muscles are being, told to do something different. They're not used to it.
I won't monopolise. There are other people on this call, but the only other thing is I seem to have stopped getting emails, and certainly what I got onto this call from a link from the session from the 10th of July. I think I'm not getting any. I don't seem to be updating on the on the dashboard at all, or getting any emails from Mystery to Mastery anymore. So I don't know why that is.
Well, you certainly haven't been taken off the list. I reckon I've got some issues with my emailing system. I've had some emails disappear. So there's something curious going on. There was one sent out today about this and about the fact that the support group is up and running again. Did you not get that?
I'll check.
I'll check too, Steve.
I haven't got a problem. Generally, I'm sat here. I mean, I'm quite happy. I'm like the rest of these guys here. I'm quite happy pootling around, and I go back to the Largo lip slurs, and I've got a routine where I go from the beginning up to about moderato, E flat to A flat, and it seems pointless to go much further. I mean, in my regular practice, I'll practice some lip slurs and trying to get a bit higher with them. Obviously, I'm trying to exercise a bit more range, but I'm quite happy pootling around where I am, actually.
It'll come. Again, it goes before you came on. We're just sort of talking quite a lot about the key of it's the process. What does the result look like? How does the system work? Am I capable of doing it? And you know what you want to sound like. So anything that's not the sound that you want to make is an error. And you correct it, and then you store it. Rinse and repeat. You'll sort it. So it's early days too, mate. It's early days, so it'll come.
Yeah.
I better call it, guys. Otherwise, this will go for ages, and I've got a 10-minute session in about 15 minutes. So thank you all again, and stay in touch. Make sure you connect to that support group because there's lots of things coming. And if you're a subscriber and you haven't connected, there's a big red flag and I'll figure out what it's going to be. Something coming your way. Right, you haven't signed up yet? Pick a charity. All right, guys. Have a great day. And if there's anyone from the States, well done for getting up so early. And we'll see you next time. Ciao.